us to please share his thoughts. Mr. Seth, over to you.
Thank you, Pradeep, and namaste and minglava to everyone. Madam Nidhi Khare, Additional Secretary, Government of Consumer Affairs, Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. His Excellency Ambassador Saurabh Kumar, Mr. Jitu Beda, esteemed speakers, friends attending this webinar from IMCC and IPGA and all our associate organizations, a very, very warm welcome. I'm indeed very happy that we are having this seminar on such an important topic. IPGA and IMCC has signed an MOU quite some time back. And I think this is a beginning of a very fruitful relationship, I'm sure, because agro trade between our two countries is extremely important. And IMCC being a pivotal business chamber in Myanmar and IPGA representing all the agro importers, I think have a lot of work which we can do together. I just wanted to make three very brief points. I know Vatsal and Desh will of course discuss in details on the crop, etc. But I wanted to talk on three broad issues for broad understanding of all people who are attending this webinar. The first is that I'm very happy to say that IMCC, which was formed about 3 years back, is very, very actively looking at enhancing Myanmar and India business. And currently, from a trade which is around 1.7 to 1.8 billion, our objective, at least post-COVID, was to see how we can move this to at least $5 billion in the next 3 to 4 years. That challenge remains, and I think we will work towards it. But talking specifically of agro, one thing that we would be looking at the chamber is to see how we can do direct shipping of agro commodities from Myanmar to India and vice versa. Just now, all our shipments are transshipped either in Kuala Lumpur or in Singapore. The chamber is working seriously to see how we can get maybe smaller vessels, 300 to 500 TEU vessels, which can ply directly between container terminals in Myanmar and our terminals, which are both present on the east coast and west coast of India. So that is something that we want to seriously work on, and we would request IPGA to also support us in this endeavor and see how we can talk to some shipping companies and see how to make this consistently viable. From time to time, people have been putting vessels, but now that we have a clarity and Government of India has announced for the next 5 years a particular quota, so I think there is some visibility that we have here. And overall, I think both for exporters from Myanmar as well as for importers in India, it will be a huge cash flow benefit if we are able to do direct sailing. So that was one point that I strongly wanted to park today, and something which Mr. Jitu, we should take over later after the seminar to see how we can work together on this. Of course, a challenge remains on how do you get return cargo from India back to Myanmar. So whether it is pharmaceutical or steel products or even electrical machinery, we have to do some amount of homework to see how to do a consolidation of that fragmented cargo. That is one. Second is till now Myanmar has been primarily focused on black mape, tur and green moong. Here again in IMCC we have been discussing, and we've also been taking guidance from our patron, the ambassador himself, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture, to see if we can enrich the product mix of the crops in Myanmar. Of course, depending on suitability of the soil conditions and the climate, the point we want to explore is that can we grow lentils or chickpeas, etc., or yellow peas in upper parts of Myanmar, which has colder climate. Why should one import all the way from Canada and Australia? Why not Myanmar to India? So that is something that, again, we have to put our minds together. And I would we will of course need support of Government of India. We would need support of some technical specialists to see how to really make this project work. But that's another big item which is on our agenda, which I think between IMCC and IPGA, we should take it forward. The third and my last point is regarding FOB costs. Myanmar has stiff competition now from Africa. We know all these countries, whether it's Ethiopia, Sudan, Tanzania or Mozambique is able to supply tur all the way from there to India at a cheaper cost. So this is something where our own chamber has to work with the agro producers here, the suppliers, look at the whole supply chain and see how we can make Myanmar competitive so that we have a sustainable business between India and Myanmar in the agro commodities space. So those were three quick points I wanted to make. And I wish that this is a good seminar and we all have a fruitful discussion. And we look forward to doing more such seminars in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seth. Before I proceed further, I request all the participants to use the Q&A box at the bottom